Chapter 2 By the Roots. Once upon a time, your parents, the Sound and the Fury, were Millennia City's most famous powered couple. When they met in high school, they discovered that your mother's ability to generate vocal sonic waves perfectly complemented your father's ability to harness sound energy. Almost immediately after they arrived on MC's hero scene, the public became enamored with their budding romance and their harmonious power set. As they rose rapidly to the hero A-list, no villain was too dangerous for them to battle, and no party was too exclusive for them to attend. This meant that you got to spend your childhood immersed in MC's finest hero high life, knowing that someday you'd fight alongside your parents as a famous hero. Until your 13th birthday, it was going to be the best night of your life, the first time your powers might begin to manifest. Your parents were at a press conference speaking about one of their recent successes, shutting down an assassin training academy masquerading as a public high school. They were supposed to say a few words about the mission and then come straight home to celebrate your big night. However, just as they were preparing to leave, a young villainess crashed the event. She was Miss Artillery, one of the Assassin Academy's teachers, and she entered ranting about how the Sound and the Fury had ruined her life. She quickly went on the offensive with her power to generate weaponry, and your parents moved to apprehend her. But for some strange reason, perhaps because they were in such a rush to get home to you, they miscalculated their joint attack. In what became the biggest news story of the year, the Sound and the Fury murdered Miss Artillery by, we can choose A, liquefying her brain, B, snapping her spine, or C, blowing out her heart. I'm going to choose blowing out her heart. While your father used his sound-enhanced strength to restrain Miss Artillery, your mother aimed to disable her with a quick sonic blast. You still don't know whether your mother misjudged the strength of her blast, or your father miscalculated the angle. Either way, when the blast cleared, Miss Artillery was twisted up in your father's arms, her fingers clutching her chest. This certainly wasn't the first time a hero had accidentally used fatal force against a villain. Traditionally, this mistake would require a fair amount of community service and a hefty fine, especially for heroes of your parents' caliber. However, this accident came on the heels of a recent string of excessive hero-on-villain brutality, and their case fell into the hands of Judge Victon, an up-and-comer who was making a play to become MC's mayor. Deciding that a harsh ruling would set the perfect example for his zero-tolerance campaign against heroic brutality, Judge Victon passed the harshest sentence ever given to any powered hero. Citing a murderous misuse of powered ability, he sentenced your parents to a life term in the Devoid, a maximum security facility for powereds, without visitation rights. The last time you saw your parents was on the day of that infamous sentencing, right before the police escorted them to the Devoid. You'll never forget the image of your mother and father in orange jumpsuits, handcuffed and shamed, their spirits broken. Judge Victon wouldn't even let them hug you goodbye. Your mom couldn't stop crying as the police escorted her away, but as your dad followed, he turned to you and said the words you'd come to live by. Don't let this stop you, Deacon. Become a hero for us. Your father could not have known the profound effect those words would have on you, especially after his unjust treatment at the hands of the legal system. As a result, you have very strong beliefs regarding the law. We can either say A, I respect the law. It may not always be right, but it's the best and only system we have. B, I'll always follow the law in order to avoid my parents' fate. However, I don't necessarily mind getting a bit creative with the law if the situation absolutely calls for it. Or C, I have no problem with breaking the law, but I try to follow it whenever it seems reasonable enough. I'm going to choose I respect the law. Minor acts of vigilantism aside, you follow the law so closely that you won't even fly illegally. You hope to maintain those standards as best as you can as you begin your career as a hero. After the trial, your parents' considerable fortune was transferred to Miss Artillery's estate, and you were assigned to live with your only living relative, your grandma. However, moving in with her wasn't so simple. Over the course of their careers, your parents had amassed a deadly collection of enemies, each of whom would be thrilled to seek revenge on the Zoned and Fury's now defenseless family. So the court enrolled you and Grandma in the Powered Family Protection Program, or PFPP. You and Grandma were given brand new identities. The Sterling name was assigned to you, though you at least got to keep your first name. Grandma suddenly found herself forced to live on a pitiful PFPP stipend and had to move you into a small apartment in the eastern fringes. She also had to pull you out of your fancy, powered-only private school and enroll you in the local public school. In the course of a few short months, your life became entirely unrecognizable to you, and it has never been the same since. That's why, every day, you remind yourself of who you really are. Your real family name is... I'm going to input my own family name, and my character's last name is going to be Isai. So, Deacon Isai was no more, giving way instead to Deacon Sterling, as you found that the Sterling version of yourself was vastly different, forced to grow up way faster than anyone ever should. Back in the kitchen, you look across the table at Grandma. She's the only other person in the world who understands how you feel. After all, she was forced to abandon the life she had built for over 70 years to enter the PFPP with you. Despite this, Grandma has still managed to start over and find a way to be happy once again, and without her, you'd have had no shot at becoming a hero. Thank you, Gran, you repeat, fighting against the lump forming in your throat. Oh, hush up, Grandma says, wiping at her cheeks. What are you waiting for? You've got a career to start. You run into your room, where you've made sure not to keep any plans, since you don't need Grandma's best spies hanging around. It is decorated plainly, but what truly makes the room yours is the wall filled with framed posters of your favorite powered heroes. Featured centrally are your parents in their classic Sound and Fury costumes, right next to your favorite powered hero, Rebellion. He has been your idol ever since you were a little kid. You've got plenty of other posters on your hero worship wall, but whose career do you want to emulate most? The team players or the solo heroes? We can choose A, Rebellion, leader of the Millennial Group, MC's #1 powered team. B, the Everyman Brigade, MC's most prominent work-for-hire team. C, Static, the Eastern Fringe's current champion. Or D, Black Magic, MC's latest hero heartthrob. I'm going to choose the Everyman Brigade. The Everyman Brigade does good deeds and rakes in the big bucks at the same time, working for high-profile mega clients and donating time to pro bono cases. Professional heroing is a business after all, and no one knows that better than the Everyman. Every morning, you stare at the hero wall and envision what your own poster will look like among these famous heroes. Peeling your eyes away, your attention wanders down to the video game you're supposed to be testing. Now that you have your license, you can finally quit the game testing job, since there are dozens of ways for heroes to earn a living. Most of these paid jobs are very difficult to obtain, though. You've heard the horror stories about the endless lines at the DRPR to collect powered hero unemployment. Still, you don't think twice about tossing the video game in the trash and reaching for your single most prized possession, your prism costume. As you suit up, you pull a mask over your face to protect your identity, even though no one would ever recognize you as the Sound and the Fury's child now that you're all grown up. You don't need anyone discovering your sterling identity and coming after Grandma. You've been perfecting the right costume for a long time, since it's your calling card as a hero. Knowing this, you've chosen a color scheme that's. We can choose A, all tones of black and metal gray for intimidation. B, bright and bold primary colors to get noticed. C, black and bronze, the colors of Millennia City's flag. D, blue and gold, the colors of my favorite hero, Rebellion. Or E, red and silver, the colors of my parents' Sound and Fury costume. I'm going to go ahead and say bright and bold primary colors. Every time you put on your costume, you can't wait to use your powers. So you snap your fingers, generating a small pop of energy, which also happens to be your favorite color. We can choose from a bunch of colors, but I'm going to choose red. As the pop of red energy fades, you look over your costume in the mirror. Knowing that style without substance means very little, you've also chosen design features that amplify your powers. Truth be told, you'd have been able to afford your power license way sooner if you hadn't spent so much money on your most prized upgrade. We can choose A, parachute panels for maximum maneuverability. B, a rocket backpack to channel excess energy and add propulsion to my flying. Or C, thin tubes throughout my costume that collect and channel excess energy for shielding purposes. I'm going to go ahead and choose the shielding one. This defensive upgrade allows you to generate shields at half the power cost, an invaluable resource while in the field. As you, Prism, stand there in your perfect costume and with all of your intentions set, you realize that you're finally ready to start your hero career. But becoming a legendary hero means more to you than just fulfilling your own dreams. It's also about redeeming the Isai name. You have one ultimate goal, to become an A-list hero and reveal to Millennia City that you are actually the Sound and the Fury's child. You know that achieving this level of success is the only way to restore honor to your parents and redeem your family's legacy in the hero world. And because it's so important to your end goal, one central question constantly plagues you. In your rise to become a legend, is it more important to focus on achieving fame or upholding justice? We can choose A, I'll need everyone to know my name to get to the top. I don't care what they're saying as long as they're talking about me. B, having people know who I am is always going to help, but only if my reputation as a hero is worthwhile. C, it's vital that I uphold justice first and foremost, but that doesn't mean I can't smile for the press once a mission is accomplished. Or D, always doing the right thing will make me a hero worthy of legend. I'll get to the top by never compromising my commitment to justice. I'm going to choose I'll need everyone to know my name to get to the top. Telling that mother your name earlier tonight was just the beginning. Your first priority will always be to get your name out there, to gain notoriety. For having the courage to begin your hero rise, your legend has already increased. Your legend level is the most important meter for gauging your success in the hero world, and is affected not only by the decisions you make, but also by any fluctuations in your public image. Rebellion's legend is the highest on record, an astounding 100, so that's your ultimate goal. Your legend level is tracked on your hero license. You flip it over and see you've got a long way to go, since your current legend is a lowly 1. Of course, This plastic version of your license is simply a keepsake. Your official license has already been scanned and uploaded into your meat chip. Kudos on the license, sugar, meat chip Luca me now says, appearing in front of you once again. You best work that career, honey. Thanks, Luca me now, you say, smiling. You then take a moment to check your hero statistics by clicking on the Show Stats button located on the top of this screen. The choices you make throughout your career will be reflected in the statistics and levels listed here. You'll also know that, in turn, these stats and levels will significantly affect the course of your hero career. The choices you make will have very real consequences, so be sure to choose wisely. Look at me now, you say, move the Show Stats button to my home screen and... You all look insane, talking to those electronic voices in your head, Grandma says from the doorway. That's why I simply refuse to have one of those machines implanted into me. It just doesn't seem right. I know how you feel about meat chips, Gran, you say, turning towards her. And it's annoying because now that they've done away with landlines and cell phones, there's no way of getting in touch with you. Which is precisely how I like it, Grandma says. But look at you, a born Eastside hero. Well, this born hero had better get out there, you say, shaking off your nerves. This career isn't going to start itself. Wait, before you go. Grandma walks toward you, and you see that she holds an envelope in her hands. Your stomach drops. It's such a big day, Grandma says, her eyes on the floor. They'd want to be here so badly. Your jaw goes tight. You know exactly what Grandma wants you to do. While the Devoid may not allow its prisoners to have any visitors, it does permit them to receive letters. So for years, you wrote to your parents, telling them everything about your life. You thought writing those letters would make you feel better, but it only made you feel worse, because the Devoid doesn't allow its prisoners to write any letters back. It's been years since you've written anything. Grandma looks up at you, and your heart feels like it might break. I'm sorry, you say, but you know how I feel about this, Gran. You don't write letters to your parents anymore because we can say A, it's too painful. B, I'm angry that my parents had to abandon me. C, I need to learn how to live without them. Or D, I don't know what to say. I'm gonna go with it's too painful. Not writing letters to your parents proves just as difficult as actually writing them, so it's a task you try to avoid thinking about entirely. Grandma knows this, so she doesn't press the issue. All right, Deacon, Grandma says, fighting to keep her face even. Now listen to me. Please be careful out there. Lord knows I won't be able to sleep until you're home. I will, Gran, I promise. Then off you go, she says, drumming up a smile. And do try to kick some butt, yes? Ready to go, you step up on your Windows 14th story ledge and look out over the grandeur of Millennia City. One of the advantages of living in the eastern fringes is the spectacular view of MC's iconic skyline. You take a deep breath, letting the energy of the city run through you. Standing on this precipice, you can't help but wonder what kind of hero you will become, and will you be able to survive long enough to achieve the legend status you crave? The choice is up to you, you think to yourself, right before